Līgo Jānīt, līgo Jānīt, līgo, līgo, līgo Jānīt.
Probably just take it off, make a string, and then just clamp it on. As long as it's a little, I think it'll work. Yeah.
No, I'm not, because I already know. Yeah,
Did you get some clovers?
Oh, yeah.
I gotta have clovers in mine.
I know you are a clover. Oh, I made it too big. Oh no.
She was Liesma Lagziņa from Kuldīga. It's always problem to spell these very complicated Latvian names. And I will introduce the next storytellers. The next one will be Inese Šmukste, the same city Kuldīga where Liesma came from. And she is city guide, work in hotel, and sing in folklore group. All this will translate. We have a lot of stories about blacksmiths, and this is one of them.
I will jump in with one explanation in Latvian. To cast iron is a saying meaning just to chat a lot. Sometimes to speak nonsense, čugunuliet. So this all relates to your event.
Labvakar. Man ir ļoti liels prieks šeit atrasties, un man būs stāsts par kādu brīnumkalēju.
She's very happy to be here, and she will tell you about a wondersmith.
Tā ir latviešu tautas pasaka.
And that's a Latvian folk tale.
Reiz dzīvojis kāds vecs kalējs.
Once upon a time, there lived a very old blacksmith.
Spēka viņam vairs ir. Spēka viņam vairs nav bijis, bērnu viņam nav bijis, pieliekamais tukšs, nekā viņam vairs nav bijis.
He had lost his strength, he had no children, his house was empty, he had nothing left.
Sēž ar sievu un domā, ko vecumdienās darīs, kas viņiem maizi dos, lūdz, lai ātrāk nāvīt atnāk.
So they sit there, he and his wife, what to do, who will provide for them? No one. So, dear death, could you come sooner?
Te pēkšņi pie smēdes durvīm, tuk, 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 tuk.
Suddenly, there's a knock on the door.
Domā, nāvīt atnāca.
The death came.
Bet nē, attaisa durvis, tur skaists puisis stāv.
But that was not true. They opened the door, and there's a handsome lad standing there.
Un viņš saka, tēvu, tev palīga nevajag?
And this lad says, well, father, don't you need a hand?
Un viņš saka, nē, man te nav ko kalt, te nevienam neko nevajag, es esmu vecs. Ej prom, ej, citur skaties, laimi meklē.
And the old man says, well, no one comes here. I have no job. I have nothing to do. This is not the right place. Go away.
Bet durvis bija palikušas vaļā, un aiz durvīm garām iet veca greizā ubadzīte.
But the door was left open, and a very old and sick beggar woman passed it.
Un jaunais palīgs Viņš saka, vecais būtu plēšas, paķēra vecenīti un uzmeta uz laktas.
So this young man notices this old woman and says, well, old blacksmith, prepare it. We'll have some jobs here.
Un viņš kala, vecais acis aizmiedzis, pūta plēšas, un jaunais palīgs tik kala, līdz nometa kaļamo uz klona.
So the young man grabbed this old woman. The old man was making the fire, and he kept banging her with a hammer and kept banging, and then he finished.
Un notiek brīnums, no klona pieceļas jauna, skaista meitene, ap 20 gadiem.
He dropped this, what was an old woman, on the floor, but there rose a young woman, about 20 years of age.
Nākamajā dienā aiz smēdes durvīm stāvēja apmēram 100 kaļamo, greizi līki šķībi nepareizi.
The next morning, there was a queue outside there. About 100 people, all like this.
Un šie tik kala, un kala, kamēr visus izskala skaistus iztaisnoja, kā tikai viņiem patikās.
So they kept working all day long until they had remade all of those old people into young ones.
Un par to viņi neprasīja neko.
But they didn't ask anything in reward.
Bet ja no sirds kaut ko dara, tad no sirds tev visu nes atpakaļ. Un viņiem nesa un dāvināja daudz dāvanas.
But if you do your job from your heart, so you get something in return, and people just kept bringing them gifts without being asked.
Un tad, kad vecajam kalējam pieliekamais bija pilns, un kaļam jau vairs nenāca, jaunais palīgs pamāja ar dievas un devās prom.
So, in some quite short time, the house again was full, and all of the old people were remade into younger people. So, the younger helper said, my job here is done, said his farewells and left.
Un viņš piesacīja, vairs nekalt nevienu. Tev visa kā pietiek, dzīvo laimīgs.
But he told the blacksmith, don't you ever try to remake anyone else. You have enough, so live your life.
Bet nākošajā dienā bez smēdes sāka pulcēties bagāti ļaudis.
Still, the next morning, the rich people came there.
Un it sevišķi viena madāma sola kalējam apzeltīt šos ar sievu, smēdi piebērt pilnu ar zeltu, lai tikai šo izskaļot skaistu.
And there was one very active lady promising to fill the house with gold if only she could be made young.
Kalējs kasīs pakausi, kamēr šis kasīs pakausi, madāma jau uz laktas.
And the blacksmith remembers what he was told. He stands there, scratching his head, thinking what to do. While he is standing there, the lady is on the anvil already.
Un vecais kalējs padomājis, pamēģināšu, varbūt, ka man izdosies. Un sācis kalt veceni.
So, nothing to do. The blacksmith thought to himself, okay, I've seen it all. Probably I can do it myself. Let's try.
Skatās, kaļamais paliek ar vien mazāks, un viņš lūdz Dievs, kur tas palīgs, lai nāk šurp atpakaļ.
But while he works, he sees the lady is shrinking and nearly lost. Oh God, could you bring my helper back?
Un tikko tā padomājas, palīgs nāk pa durvīm iekšā un saka, vai tu neatceries, ko tev pieteicu?
The moment he thought so, the helper enters the smithy and says, don't you remember what I told you?
Un viņš lūdz, palīdzi man pēdējo reizīti. Un viņš palīdzēja, viņš kala un nometa kaļamo uz klona.
So again, the helper asked to help out of the situation. He did what he could, banged a lot, and then dropped the finished product on the floor.
Un tur bija ļoti skaists, bet melns kaķis.
But what was there? Very beautiful black cat.
Un visi kaļamiem pazuda uz visām pusēm, un kalējam no tā laika bija miers, un viņam iestājusies bija pārticība, un es jums visiem arī novēlu mieru un pārticību un mīlestību. Paldies!
That moment, the queue dispersed, no one else came, but the blacksmith, he had enough. And so he lived his life in prosperity, and may you all also live your life in prosperity.
The next storyteller is very old. I know she tells story more than 20 years. We have in with children folklore group storyteller contests for a long time, and she won the title of storytelling queen. Inita Shalkovska from Zemgale, yeah? And she is musician to tell stories together with musician, and drummer Mikus Čavārds is very famous drummer in some folklore groups. Yeah.
Vienreiz dzīvoja viens čugunelējējs.
Once upon a time, there lived an iron caster.
Viņš bija baigais dzērājs.
He was a drunkard.
Starp citu, tā ir latviešu tautas pasaka pierakstīta blakus tai vietai, kuras kādreiz dzīvoja.
By the way, it's all true. It's a Latvian folk tale, recorded not far from the place she once lived.
Nu, vienu nakti čugunu lējējs dzēra un nodzēra visu savu mantu.
One night, that iron caster was drinking, and so he drank all of his belongings.
Un aizmiga maigu miegu, no rīta pieceļās, un no viņam sirds sāk pārmest to, ko viņš visu nakti nodzērs. Šis aiz kauna nolēna žogmalē un raud gaužas asaras.
So he drank, fell asleep, slept well, but in the morning he woke up and he realized what he had done. And then he went into the corner and started crying.
Te, klāt velns. Ko raudi?
And there comes the devil. What are you crying?
Ko es neraudāšu, vakar visu mantu pa nakti nodzēru.
How can I not cry? I drank all what I had. I have nothing left.
Tu muļķi, mantu atkal nopelnīs, bet kad tev tīkas par dzērieniem, es varu gādāt.
Hey, you silly! You can earn more. But if you're interested in drinks, I can provide you with some.
Ej tu ar saviem dzērieniem, no kurienes nācis. Es jau esmu gana dzēris, nu man pietiek.
Well, you and your drinks. Go where you came from. I've drunk enough.
Tu muļķi, nemāk ņemt pat to, kas tev par velti ienākas. Nu, paņem kausiņu. Un vēlnam rokā tiešām bija tāds labs kausiņš. Kad tu to pieliksi pie lūpām, tad tev visgardākie dzērieni tur līs iekšā. Un, nu, kas tev liek vienam dzert, ka negribās pacienāt draugus?
Oh, you're silly. You don't even take what you're given. Well, okay, if nothing else, so here you have a bowl. And when you put it to your lips, there will be the best drinks in it. And in case you don't want to drink yourself, just offer to your friends.
Nu, tu joko.
kidding me?
Jokoju? Nu, šeit pagaršo, vai te nav gards?
Get in. Take it. Try it.
Kalējs. Nu, tas pats, kas čuguna lējais.
Blacksmith. But, well, okay, that's the same as iron caster.
Kalējs paņem kausu pie lūpām, pagaršo. Gards gan, gards.
He takes it, tastes it. Wow, good indeed.
Jā. Nu, tad ņem, to tu vari lietot 25 gadi bez nekādas maksāšanas. Bet tikai paklau kalēju. Tad pēc 25 gadu tu nāksi man atkalpot to kausiņu. Vai dzirdēji?
Okay, you can take it. It costs you nothing. For 25 years, but in 25 years' time, you will have to serve for me for this bow.
Dzirdēju. Labi. Tā, kalējs dzīvo bez bēda 25 gadi. Bet tas laiks iet uz beigām.
See, the blacksmith, iron caster agrees. He lives these 25 years with no worries at all. But he realizes the time's coming to an end.
Un tai pēdējā gadā kalējs paliek domīgs, dzer drusku mazāk un sāk nu gūģoties. Nebūtu es ar velnu sapinies. 25 gadi gan dzēru visādi dzērienus un piezīdos kā dēle, bet kas tagad būs, man jāiet šim atkalpot.
Well, and this is the last year, and this blacksmith iron caster thinks, well, I did wrong. For 25 years I lived well, but now the time comes to serve for it.
Nu tā. Bet nu iegadījies arī tā. Tai pašā laikā, tai pašā vietā, pa zemi Dievs pastaigājies.
But it happened that God came walking around the same time and the same place.
Un sagadījās tā, ka Dievam netālu no kalēja būdas nūjas aplīs.
And God broke his walking stick not far from the blacksmith's house.
Nu, Dievs aprasās tuvējiem ļaudīm, vai te būtu kāds kalējs. Jā, ir gan. Un aizved Dievu pie tā paša mūsu kalēja.
So God went inquiring about some blacksmith to repair his walking stick. So is there any? Yes, of course, there is. This one.
Dievs ieiet pie kalēja būdām un saka, labdien, vai var man nūju salabot?
So he enters the blacksmith house, asks, well, good day, could you fix my stick?
Kalējs paņem savu kausiņu, pieliek pie lūpām, ierauk vienu šļuku, kausiņu noliek uz laktas, pašmakstina un, var gan dot šurp to nūju salabošu.
So the blacksmith takes a look at the stick, picks up his cup, has a drink from it. Okay, I can.
Viens, divi, kalējs nūju salabo.
And in a flash, the stick is as new.
Bet Dievs redz, ka kalējs viņa nemaz neatpazīst un nodomā pārbaudīs kalēju.
But then God notices that this blacksmith does not recognize him. Okay, let's test him.
Nu, Dievs sāk žēli runāt. Ai, jā, salabotu jau salaboju, bet tā bēda, ka man nav naudas, ko maksāt.
So, well, yeah, you fixed it. But you know, there's a problem. I've got no money.
Kas tad tā par bēdu? Par tādu mazu darbu es samaksas nemaz neņemtu, ja tev būtu nauda. Tādi darbi pie manis iet bez maksāšanas.
Where's the problem? Such a small job. I do this free of charge.
Es redzu, ka tev laba sirds, Kalēj. Dievs domīgi saka un taisās vēl ko teikt.
So, blacksmith, I see your heart is good.
Bet Kalējs tūlīt pat ķerās pie savu kausa un iestreb vienu šļuku un dod ir Dievam.
At that moment, the blacksmith again grabs his cup, takes a sip from it, and offers it to God.
Dievs tūlīt atgaiņājas un saka, nē, tu man labāk pasaki, no kurienes var dabūt tādus kausiņus, kur dzeramais nekad nebeidzas.
But God does not take it. He says, well, instead, you could tell me, where did you get this cup?
Kur ņemt? Pie velna.
Huh, where? I got it from the devil.
Bet es tev neieteiktu visu ar velnu sapīties. Tu nezini, kā man sirds tagad sāp, ka es ar šo pirms 25 gadu ielaidos. Dzīvoju es cepuru kuldams un dzēru, bet tagad man jāiet viņam atkalpot. Kādu būtu kāds cilvēks, kas mani atpestītu.
Well, but I would not suggest you do the same and get a cup from the devil. I lived for 25 years with no worry at all. I had all the drink I had and I wanted, but, now I have to go to serve for it. And I wish there was anybody who could save me from that.
Paklau, Kalēj, Dievs ierunājies. Zini, man ar velnu arī ir tāds vecais ienaids. Un es jau šo gadiem gribu sadzīt rokā. Bet viņš manīgs, visu laiku aizbēg no maniem nagiem.
Then God says, well, I have some dealings with the devil myself. And I'd like to get him. But he's so cunning, he always gets away.
Zini, tev laba sirds, es tev došu padomu.
Well, and as your heart is good, I will provide you with an advice.
Kad citu gadu velns sūtīs tev pakaļ, tu iedod tam nācējam savu kausu un saki, kausiņ turi ciet. Un tūlīt pat tas kausu turētājs paliks kā zemē, iemūrēts, nepakustēsies ne pa labi, ne pa kreisi.
So when the next year, the devil will send something or somebody to pick you up, give that one your cup and say, cup, hold him. And that one will not be able to move. He will stand as a stick.
Nu, un kad nākamais nāks, tu ar viņu izdara līdzīgi. Tu viņu apsēdini uz laktas un saki, lakta, turi ciet.
When the next one will come, do the same. Just ask that one to sit down on the anvil and say, anvil, hold him.
Bet, kad pats vecais nāks tev pakaļ, tad tu viņu piemāni pie savas ābeles, kas tev te nama priekšā, un saki, ābele, turi ciet. Tad šis paliks zarā, un tur tu viņu arī atstāji.
And then the devil himself will come after you. But you lead him to your apple tree and tell the apple tree to hold him. He will remain there hanging, so let him hang there.
Un ja tu to visu būsi izdarījis, tad kā pie manis uz debesīm un tuliņ pat pastāst, ko tu ar velnu sadarīji.
And when you have finished all these things, come to me, to heaven, and tell me how it went.
Ja? Un kas tu tāds esi, ka man pavēl pie sevis uz debesīm kāpt? Un kā tad es tur tikšu?
And who are you to tell me to go to heaven, and how will I get there?
Es esmu Dievs, un debesīs var tikt pavisam vienkārši.
Well, I'm God, and there's a simple way to get to heaven.
Nu, tu paņem cepuri.
Take your hat.
Es parādīšu, tā būs
Oh.
īsāk.
You'll be sure.
Paņem uz maiksts, nu kaut kādas, vienalga kādas, var arī īsāk. Uzliec šitā. Un saki, kur cepure, tur es.
Where's my hat? There will I be.
Easy. Nu, bet kā tos vārdus teicis, tāpats Dievs pazūd.
And as God had told us, he disappeared.
Labi, paiet gads. Viens velna kalps pienāk pie Kalēja un saka, Kalēj, nāc man līdzi.
So the year came to the end, and there arrived the devil's servant, saying, Blacksmith, come with me.
Uja, nu ko tik steidzīgs? Nāc apsēdi, iedzersim pa malciņam un tad gan aiziesim.
What's the rush? What? Just sit down, let's have a drink, and then we'll be on our way.
Nu labi, velna kalps nosēd turpat smēdē. Kalējs pats iedzer no kausiņa vienu malku un dod velna kalpam. Tas iedzer, liek. Nu labi, tas iedzer. Tur jau nevar tā.
So the devil's servant sits down. Blacksmith also does that. Has a sip from the cup, gives it to the servant, and that one also drinks a bit.
Tad velna kalps to kausiņu bīda uz laktas nolikt, bet tāpat mirklī Kalējs iesaucas. Kausiņu turi ciet!
And the moment that devil's servant intended to put that cup down, the blacksmith cries out, Cup, hold him!
Kalējs ātri nokarsē vienu karstu dzelzi, paņem spīlēs un liek klāt velnu kalpam šo spīdzināt no visām malām karsta dzelzi.
So the blacksmith heats up a piece of iron, so it's red hot, and keeps pushing this servant from all sides. Let's see what happens.
Nu, kad tu man nedosi vēl 25 gadi te palikt, tad es tev lupatās sadedzināšu.
If you won't allow me to stay here for 25 years more, I will burn you.
Nu, ko darīt? Velna kalps pielika viņam 25 gadus vēl klāt.
So, in such a bad situation, the devil's servant agreed for 25 years more.
Un 25 gadus Kalējs dzīvo cepuri kuldams.
And for 25 years, the blacksmith lived without any worries.
Un, lai būtu īsāk, jūs jau paši saprotat, kas notika ar otro velna kalpu un to laktu.
So, we can cut the long story shorter here. I imagine you all can understand what happened with the second servant.
Tas pats, un 25 gadi klāt.
All the same, and another 25 years.
Bet tad gan nāca vecais velns pakaļ.
But after those 25 years, the devil itself came to pick up that blacksmith.
Šis neko neprasa, būdā iekšā velnu Kalēju aiz apkaklas sagrāb un velk kā zvērs prom uz savu miteku.
The devil didn't say a thing, just grabbed the blacksmith and dragged him away.
Kalējs jau gan atcerās, ka viņam bija velns pie tās ābeles jāpieviļ, bet viņš ātrumā nevar saprast, kā lai to izdara.
The blacksmith remembered that he had to lead the devil to the apple tree. But how?
Nu šo velku un velk ar zemi, bet te vecajam Kalējam iešaujas prātā tāda lieta.
He's been dragged, and then suddenly it occurs to him.
Šis nokrīt gar zemi kā lupata, pieķer pie sirds un saka, ai dieniņ, man tūlīt pat jāmirst nost, mana sirdi slikt, mana sirdi tūlīt jābeidz nost, bet kad tu man aizvilkt apakaļ uz mājām pie tās ābeles, kas man mājas priekšā, un iedot man vienu saldu ābolīti, tad es tūlīt izveseļotos.
And he starts complaining, oh, I feel so bad. I'm going to die. But if you could drag me back to my house, to that apple tree, and give me one single apple, I would be healthy again and could serve you.
Nu, velns apstājas un domā, nu jā, kur tad es tādu vecu un beigtu likšu, Jāklausa viena būs, vilkšu apakaļ uz mājām.
So the devil thinks, what good of a servant who can't serve? Okay, let's drag him back.
Nu, velns 1, 2 atvelk Kalēju pie viņa ābeles koka un pats sniedz pēc ābola, un Kalējs tūlīt pat uzsauc: Ābeli, turi ciet! Un velns ābelē zarā iekšā kā piesiets.
So he drags the blacksmith back to that apple tree, drops him there as a sack, reaches after an apple, but the moment he reached up, the blacksmith cries out, Apple tree, hold him! And so the devil's left there hanging.
Un tad gan Kalējs vairs nekavējas, šis paņem savu cepuri, uzliek uz mietu, pastiepas uz debesīm un saka, kur cepura, tur es. Un tūliņ kā tauriņš uzlido uz debesīm.
And that moment, the blacksmith rises again, grabs his hat, puts it on a stake and shouts, where's my hat? There I will be. And rises up.
Un tur ies pie Dieva ziņu nest. Bet Dieva sargi nelaiž šo iekšā, nu nepazīst, kas tas tāds par putnu.
So he arrives there to report on his dealings, but God's guards would not let him in. No one knows him.
Nu, kas tu tāds esi un ko tu te taisies darīt? Nu, es esmu Kalējs un es nesu Dievam svarīgas ziņas.
Who are you? Why are you here? Well, I'm a blacksmith and I'm bringing good news for God.
Nu, nelaiž un nelaiž iekšā.
No, you can't pass.
Nu, tā stāv un strīdās, līdz pēc kāda brīža viens sargs paver vaļā durvis spraugu un Dievam paprasīs kaut ko.
So the blacksmith would not go away, and so they stand there arguing. In the end, one of the guards opens the door, just a little crack, to ask God, so what to do with this man?
Bet Kalējam ar to vien pietiek. Šis pa durvīm izmet savu cepuri tur pie Dieva kambaru un sauc, kur cepuri tur es, un tūliņ pat viņu ieraun iekšā pie Dieva.
But there's a way. As that crack was big enough for the hat, so the blacksmith throws his hat in and shouts, where's my hat? There will I'll be. And he's inside.
Nu, izstāsta Dievam ziņu, Dievs tūliņ nokāp zemē ar velnu parunāt, bet Kalējs paliek debesīs.
So the blacksmith tells God everything, how it was. And God goes down to have a chat with the devil. And the blacksmith is left up there in heaven.
Un pēc kāda laika Kalējs sēž apsēdies un palūr, kas tur lejā notiek. Ai, kā velns purinājās no Dieva tajā ābelē. Un Kalējs tik sēž un smejas un tur savu vēderu no smiekliem.
So, as God is not coming back for quite some time, the blacksmith decides to look down and see what's going on there. Oh gosh, that's interesting. The devil is swinging in the apple tree and the God keeps beating him, and that's so funny.
Nu, smējās, tricinās, un viņam nokrīt cepuri zemē.
And from that laughing, his hat fell down.
Nu, viņš mēģina to cepuri aizsniegt. Sniedzās, un makarēs, tad tā. Un vienā brīdī viņam iznāk tādi vārdi pār lūpām. Kur cepuri tur esi?
And he tries like this, and tries like that. Can't reach that hat. And at some bad moment, he just, by a slip of his tongue, says, where's my hat? There will I be.
Nu, un tūliņ pat viņš arī nokrit uz zemes, kā vējš nolaidās uz zemes, un sabir par vienu mazu pelnu čupiņu.
And that moment, he returned on the earth, and the moment he touched the ground, he became just a little pile of ashes.
Kaut kur jau viņš vēl tagad ir.
He's somewhere around here.
And thank you, Aldis, for brilliant translation.
anyone been in Portugal for midsummers? Then I'm safe. If you were in Portugal right now, you would be doing two things to get ready for tomorrow night, the lighting of the fire. You would be going outside and digging up a big bulb of garlic with the greens and flowers attached. And you would be rooting around in the bag by the door to look for your little plastic hammers. And as soon as it gets as dark as it can get on that night, you'd go out onto the street with all your friends before the fireworks start, and you would go up and down the street drinking probably your beer in one hand and with your garlic bulb in the other, and when someone isn't looking, you bonk them on the head with the garlic bulb. If you don't have a garlic bulb, you use your little plastic hammer. And after that happens, the fireworks goes off and everyone has a jolly time. But why a hammer? Hammers turn up in lots of places, in mythologies all over the world. You know that. You all use them in your work. Probably the very first time the hammer came up in the mythology of the god who is behind the work going on here, there, everywhere, is Hephaestus, who is known to the Romans as Vulcan. And when Hephaestus was born, he was born to the goddess Hera. And the reason that Hera gave birth to this god was out of vengeance, because Zeus had given birth to Athena out of his own head. And when that started to happen, Zeus felt some pains inside of his skull, and there was a pricking that reached to the top of his head, and it hurt. And the great god started to moan and groan, and saying, "Won't anyone come and help me?" And Hephaestus, who was already a god before he was born, for that's how it works in that realm, came running to the aid of Zeus with a huge hammer and cracked down on the top of his skull, acting as the midwife to God. And out of his head came Athena, the goddess Athena, fully formed. And Zeus didn't know what to do with this child, so he decided to hand her over to the one-eyed giant Cyclops, who lived in North Africa and taught Athena how to tend the coal pan for the fire. And she was known as the goddess of the coal pan. And he forged for her spears and lances and taught her how to be the goddess of war, the warrior goddess that she became. One hammer. Another hammer is the hammer that belongs to the midwife Hephaestoi. Hephaestus repopulated himself into these little characters that have pointed hats and run around and help whenever there is somebody who is in labor. And once Pandora, whose name means the great gifts of all things, started to emerge from the earth at springtime, as she does, her huge head started emerging up out of the earth, and the Hephaestoi all grabbed their hammers and came running. And you know how they looked. They have their little hats, and around their hats they wore crowns of leaves. And they took their hammers and they slammed their hammers down on top of this head of the goddess coming out of the earth. And all the great things came out, and also some little frightening dark things. But at the fire they celebrate all those happy good things. Another hammer. The hammer of Hephaestus. I'm going to back up to when he was born. I'll tell you about when he was born. Hera gave birth to this boy child by herself. And when he was born, she looked at him and said, "This is the ugliest most deformed child I have ever seen. And she tore him from her breast, and in that moment, hot milk spurted across the sky, and that was the origin of the Milky Way. And because she was so upset by the look of this child, she threw him to the ground, and he fell for a day to the island of Lemnos. That's one story. Another story says he fell into the sea, where the nymphs caught him and took him to their island, where he lived for 9 years, which is like the 9 months that he barely had in his mother's womb. But he lived for 9 years with the nymphs, who gave him a tiny furnace to work with. And out of this tiny furnace, he got gorgeous liquid gold. And out of that liquid gold, he fashioned jewelry for all the nymphs he loved. And he grew up to be the craftsman god who could create work so profound that it confused nature and art. And his tool for doing that, one of them you know, was that hammer. So who wouldn't want to be hit on a hammer, with a hammer on the head at the Midsummer's Fire?
Bet bērniem patīk labāk tādi stāsti, kur nevar zināt, kā viņi beigsies. Vai viņi beigsies ar kliedzienu, vai viņi beigsies ar kaut ko šausmīgu, vai ar smiekliem, vai vēl kā savādāk.
Children like stories that have unpredictable endings. Maybe there will be laughter, maybe there will be some horror in the end. You never know what it will be.
Un šokar es sagatavojis dažus stāstiņus, cik jums patiks klausīties, kur problēmas rada dažādas lietas no metāla.
So there will be a few stories about problems caused by small things made of metal.
Arī ir metāla lieta, bet par to nebūs stāsts.
This is also made of metal, but the story will be not of
tikai
the snake.
noskaņais poku stāsts.
That was just for the air of a ghost story.
Mūsdienās cilvēki parasti nomirst slimnīcās.
In our day, people usually die in a hospital.
Bet dažas slimnīcas, lai nebojātu statistiku, cenšas tos neglābjā mirstošos aizvāķīt projām, lai viņi nomirst labāk mājās.
But there are a few hospitals that do not want their statistics spoiled, so they send the lethally dead back home.
Un tā viens cienījams ģimenes tēvs ir aizvests atpakaļ pie sava dēla, guļ gultā.
So father is brought back to his son, lies there on the bed.
Un viņš jūt, ka pēdējā stundiņa viņam tuvojās.
And he feels that this is nearly the last breath of them all.
Viņš pasauc dēlu un visu dēlu ģimeni pie sevis pie gultas.
He summons his son and his family to come to his bed.
Un saka, zini, dēliņ, mēs jūtu, ka man ir drīz jāiet projām, bet dažas lietas nav palikušas izdarītas.
And he says, my son, I feel my time has come. I have to leave this earth, but there are some things still to be done.
2 mājas tālāk kaimiņam es neesmu atdevis parādu. Tur ir Dostojevs kopotie raksti, iekšā ir naudiņa, atdod viņam 200 eiro un pārējais tev drīz noderēs.
Okay, 2 houses from our house, that neighbor, I still owe some money to him. In the Dostoevsky's novel books, you'll find some money, so give him 200 euros. The rest is for you to use quite soon.
Un kaimiņam, kas dzīvo zem manis apakšā, mēs kādreiz sastrīdējāmies, un es neesmu atvainojies. Nu, aizēju, lūdzu, atvainojies vēlāk viņam manā vietā.
But that neighbor that lives 1 floor down from us, we had a bad argument a long time ago, and I haven't said my excuses to him, so could you please go and do that for me later?
Bet pats galvenais istabas vidū tur ir tāda savāda skrūve, dēliņ, to lūdzu nekad neaiztiec.
Sorry, I know how it ends. But the main thing is, you will notice a big screw in the middle of the floor of this room. Never touch it.
Un tad viņš tā jocīgi pārstāja elpot un ir nomiris.
And that was his last breath, and he was dead.
Pagājuši kā 10 gadi, dzīvoklī taisa eiro remontu.
10 years passed, and they did refurbishing of the flats.
Un vienu dienu sieva saka, nu, skrūvējam to skrūvu ārā, es vairs nevaru izturēt, man kājām visi īkšķi ir apsisti.
And one day the wife says, okay, this is it. We should remove that screw. I have managed to break all my nails on it. That's enough.
Cik ir kājām īkšķi?
How many are there?
Jo bērni parasti jau ir tik ļoti tai stāstā iekšā, ka viņi man saka no 2 līdz 10 visu šādu skaitu.
Because children tend to tell you many different numbers at this point.
Bet skrūve ir tāda ļoti savāda. Šatad no viņas nāk tāds jocīgs starojums vai tā kā elektrības sitieni.
But the screw is so weird. It appears to come light. And sometimes you can feel as if electricity from it.
Bet, nu, ja sieva saka, tad ir jāklaus, protams.
But if your wife tells you to do something,
Vīrs sameklē atslēgu, pūš virsū aerosolus, kamēr pienāk vakars, kamēr to skrūvi izdodas kaut kā iekustināt.
the screw is rusty and it takes a long time and lubricant and everything, and he keeps trying and trying, and until by the evening the screw moved.
Pagriež skūvi dažas reizes un...
So he turned the screw for a few revolutions.
Skaļš troksnis, māja gāžās, kaut kas mājā, kaut kas nolīgojās, kaut kas krīt un paliek pilnīgi tumšs. Nav elektrības vairs.
Well, I believe the beginning was all clear to you. And then, after all that, the house falls dark and silent.
Pēc brītiņa trepēs atskan smagi soļi.
But in a few moments, there are heavy footsteps on the stairs.
Soļi tuvojās un klauvē viena roka pie durvīm.
And the footsteps arrive at their door, and there is...
Visi paslēpjās, kur no kurais, jo visi pēkšņi atcerās par tēvu pēdējo vēlēšanos.
So they hide where they can, because then they realize, Father told you so.
Pie durvīm klauvē ir viens stiprāk, beigās spēr ar kāju un durvis izgāžās.
Banging becomes louder and louder, and then the door falls off the hinges.
Un sveces gaismā tur stāv.
And in the light of a candle, you can see there.
Nu, ko jūs tur redzat?
So, who?
Apakš stāva kaimiņš ar lielu lustru rokās.
The neighbor from one floor down with his chandelier in his hand.
Thank you. I hope now it's time. Here one story from Aldis. One story from Aldis, yeah?
Actually, Midsummer is not the time for stories. I should be going around visiting the neighbors' houses, singing songs and receiving beer and cheese and everything. Well, we would be playing the roles of the ancestors at that. So storytelling is meant for the dark evenings of winters, which are just a little bit colder than this one here. Usually. Well, I could tell you different silly or less silly stories, but I'll tell you a folk story which I was actually told by a woman, 97 years old, who complained to me that she has somehow lost her strength and she cannot mow the grass around her house at 97 years. And that was across the big pond in Canada. But she came from the nearly northwestern tip of Latvia. She belonged to the people who gave the first known name for this territory, that being Livonia. And those are these Finno-Ugrian people I keep remembering every time when I try to explain that Latvian language has first syllable stress. But that's a very long story again. So, and the story is about a man who had a house. But he was not right the owner. At that time, you know, the nobility was German. The Latvians and the rest were just peasants, and they had to pay their taxes and duties and levies and everything. And from there, from the western coast, they had to travel to Dundega, quite inland, to pay for just owning a house. And this man, he traveled there and started complaining to the scribe, so it's so much, I can't earn that much. Why am I made to pay that much? Well, the scribe says, had you gone to school, then instead of paying the others, you would be paid yourself. Aha. So where's the problem? I can go to school. So he returns, tells his wife to pack his bag, and the next morning he arrives at school. But again, from the village he lived to the school, it's about 15 kilometers, well, 10 miles or so. He meets the teacher, but the teacher says, well, you're late. How? I believe I'm not. You're late. Okay. If a schoolmaster told you so, you can't disagree. Went home, came earlier next morning. No one's there yet. Schoolmaster comes out. Jornax, you're late. Okay. He goes home, doesn't go to sleep. But around midnight, he starts again off to school. So this time I won't be late. Arrives there, everything's dark. He starts banging on the door. Let me in! I've come to school. The teacher's aide comes out. Jornax, calm down. It's night, everybody sleeps. And there's no school for you. Go home. Just let me in. I came to the schoolmaster. I want to be taught, and I came to tell him I'm here, so I am not late. Oh, well, what can you do with a man like that? So this aide goes in, wakes the schoolmaster, says, well, Jornax is out there shouting, I don't know what to do. So the schoolmaster says, okay, leave it to me. I'll go and explain. He goes out and says, well, Jornax, you know, you misunderstood me. I didn't mean you came late by the clock. But you're a grown-up man. You have a house. It's too late for you to go to school. You have other work to do. Go home. Oh, well, he goes home. But it's, well, a bit after midnight. It's all dark. Because, well, no one goes to school around midsummer. And he's not that rich as to have some light with him all the time. There is some kind of road there. And he goes like this, feeling with his feet. And suddenly, there's something on the road. Kind of soft, but rather heavy. A ball of yarn. Rather heavy. Something wrong with it. Okay, he puts it in his bag, goes home, enters the kitchen, lights up a candle, and starts unwinding that ball. And what's in the middle? There's a bag of gold. Aha! So he goes to the baron, pays his taxes, buys some new clothes for his wife, but no one should know that he found the money, because what's found on master's land belongs to the master. Well, but you know, women. Wife told another woman that she got some new clothes and how, and so the talk reaches the baron. Now Jornax is summoned to the manor to answer for not turning up with the gold he found. Okay, he arrived at the manor. Well, is that true that you found some gold? Yes, it is. And when was it? It was when I was going to school. Ah! That long ago. You're a good man, Jornax. So your tax is halved. And go home. There's no problem with you. Well, as you all know, it was from the times when the only money was metal and no one used this paper. You can't know what to do when it just becomes no money. And actually, this man, this Jornax, I don't even know his name. Jornax was the name of his farmstead. He was known in that vicinity as Jornakovals, the devil from Jornak. How that came to be, that was around midsummer. You know, if you have horses, you don't keep them in your stable all year round. Just let them out the pastures, but you have to stay there with them, to guard them and look after them. Usually this is done by men alone. Well, supposedly. But Jornax heard that the maidens from his farmstead were leaving in the evening for that same meadow where the lads were with the horses. So, when everyone went to sleep, he left home, went to that meadow, and what does he see? There is this crude tent made of tree branches, and there is some laughter and some noises inside, and there is this, well, bonfire in front of it, as usually. So, what shall he do? He undresses, smears himself with the sword, so he's black, throws some wet sand in the middle of the bonfire so it's not burning, jumps in, sits down, picks up a brunch, and sitting there, starts pecking one foot with it. Now a girl looks out, "Ah! Devil!" As she disappears, Jornax jumps out of the bonfire because, well, he couldn't stay there, but who else could have been sitting in the middle of fire? Black, of course. And he runs straight by a small footpath home. Well, the lads and maidens, they just first pick all the horses and go home. But by the time they arrive, the master of the house is sleeping, sound asleep, and he knows nothing of any devils and anything. But from that time on, he was known as the devil. So this is Midsummer's Eve, and the sun is already low, so we should say farewell to her in the right way.
Es jūs gribētu palūgt visus piecelties, jaunākos ļaudis pabrīvot vietas solas malā, lai būtu vieta pie ugunskura.
So could you please all stand up and free the space around the fire?
Līgo Jānīt, līgo Jānīt, līgo, līgo, līgo Jānīt. Līgo Jānīt, līgo Jānīt, līgo, līgo Jānīt. Līgo Jānīt, līgo Jānīt, līgo, līgo, līgo Jānīt. Vairs nav tālu Jāņu diena, līgo, līgo, līgo Jānīt. Šī dieniņa, rītdieniņa, līgo, līgo, līgo Jānīt. Pārīt pati Jāņu diena, līgo, līgo, līgo Jānīt. Jāņu diena lepna nāca, līgo, līgo, līgo Jānīt. Ugunīsi vīzedāma, līgo, līgo, līgo Jānīt. Zo, tagad tā, tagad uz iekšu pie ugunskura sanāk visi puisieši.
So all men come the inside. Closer to the fire.
Visi puiši, visi vīri. Visi ir, tā ir. Tagad vīriem būs jāparāda, cik stipri un cik vīrišķīgi vīri viņi ir.
So the men will have to show how strong they are and show their manhood.
Visi vienā rindā, kas tur ir pa tādā pa dubult stāvēšanu?
A single file. Single one.
Nu tā kā armijā, vienā rindā stāties.
That's in the army.
Nu? Nē. Viss vienā rindā. Līdzināties smuki. O, tā, ja? Jā. Tagad visi uz labo.
To the right.
Aha. Visi zina, kur labā pusi, ja? Un tagad tāds dancis. Tā kā lāči, ja? Tā, dansot. Šitā, uz priekšu. Tā,
Dancing with the bears.
Un dziesma ir tāda. Tu lāci brahmani, tu dziļi mežā. A jūs uz priekšu tā te. Tu lāci brahmani, tu dziļi mežā. Mani tu dziļi mežā, tu dziļi mežā, es mežā malā. Tu dziļi mežā, es mežā malā. Es tevi no mežā izlecināšu. Es tevi no mežā izlecināšu. Un tagad tu pagriezies tagad viens pret otru, un tā kā lāči viens pret otru. Tagad tu pagriezies tur, dod tālāk atkal. Tagad tu tālāk. Tagad tu. Tagad. Nu? Lāce neviena gadīsies. Tas ir vīru dancis. sievas bija labi lāči, pārliecinoši lāči bija. Vīri. Bija?
Were they good bears?
Jā, bija? Tā. Tagad vīri var iet uz āru, sievas nāk uz iekšā.
Now, the ladies in.
Un sievas ir pavardas sargātājas, ģimenes turētājas. Viņas ir kā bites, kā bišu mātes. Un bišu mātes ko dara? Viņas zuz. Un mēs arī tā skaisti tā visas mīļi.
Ladies are the guardians of the family like bees, so you should sound like the bees.
Palaidam gaisā. Un vēlreiz. Palaidam gaisā. Un vēlreiz.
Cik jaukas ģimenes mātes jau esošas un topošas kādreiz būsiet un esat bijušas bišu mātes sievietes. Un tagad pagriezīsimies pret saulīti visi.
Let us all turn towards the sun.
Un pavadīsim saulīti. Pavadīsim saulīti. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.